Good morning. We are 13 weeks out. Exciting. Getting ever closer. So that's cool. This is good. Let's start with the nutrition stuff. So what we are doing, what I've done on here, I'm going to bring the calories down slightly. We're getting closer now, right? So things are going to start changing slightly more frequently. And as we spoke about last week as well, there's going to be some refeed stuff. So, because I think if we can do these properly and do them right, we can have them relatively frequently, and we'll probably need them relatively frequently. But the idea of a refeed day isn't to like overdo things. It's basically to have a rounder maintenance, double up the carbs or so, or just give you more carbs to just replenish and refresh mentally and physically. So what I've done for the 13th, and this doesn't have to be the 13th, this is if we're presuming Monday to Sunday. I've just done it on a Saturday because that's the most social night, right? Protein will stay the same, 213 grams of carbs. Now, what I would like you to think about doing with this is, rather than going for something particularly, I don't want to say the word nice, but for want of better words, so like chocolate, for example, like a chocolate bar, to make up those 100 grams, still choose whole foods. So thinking about kind of like rice, potatoes, pastas, something like that. The good stuff, you know what I mean. I don't mean good and bad, but you know what I mean by that. Something that takes a bit of digestion, something that just will fill you up for the day as well. Chocolate will be quite fast acting and doesn't give you that processing, and kind of will be a short-term satisfaction. I'm not saying don't have any, you can have a little bit, but now that you've got an extra 100 grams, use them really cleverly and get it in good foods, like I say, just like the pastas, the rice, the potatoes, something like that. It will be super sweet. Fat I've increased a bit as well, just rather than having all carbs. But if it ends up being you just want to stick to your 38 grams of fat, then your carbs go up to, I think it was 250. Either way, it equates around 1785, which is 500 more, just over 500 more compared to your deficit, which has now gone down to 1235. So you've just reduced the carbs a bit, fat stayed the same pretty much. Protein's gone down a teeny bit as well. All right. So that's that. So hopefully, because it's obviously good that we said obviously stress and time in the month was keeping you a little bit higher, but it just shows that even working through these things and doing all the stuff through it, and being okay with it mentally, being scales, we know it's going to plateau for a little couple of days. We're still making the changes, right? Which is really cool. So if you don't want to do that day, we'll see how this goes. In an ideal world, say for example you were weighing, I don't know, 53.9 or so. Because of the increase in carbs, we might see you either stay roughly the same or go up a teeny bit, but then you'll be getting straight back on your 1200 anyway. So any water gain that you've had from the extra carbs will be lost across the next couple of days anyway. But you should feel good. You should feel a bit better mentally, physically, and you can go and hit training hard there onwards. And if that works out quite well this week and next week, then it could be a weekly thing, could be 2 weekly thing, as in fortnightly, sorry. That's something for you to tell me and go mentally whether you need one like every week, or if you feel like, because if you can obviously naturally, if you can push on through fortnightly or more without getting close to a breaking point, that'd be super useful. Because again, if you think of the calorie equation, right, like you can save yourself 500 calories and keep in the deficit, keep going. But the idea is obviously to keep you fresh as possible. But that's good. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. Training wise, I can see you're obviously doing a session now as I'm doing this. So as you're plugging these in, it looks like it's going okay. I need you to let me know if anything's feeling too easy again, and if there's any exercises you feel like you need to change in terms of you don't feel like you're getting much from them anymore. Because then if there is, then we can start swapping some exercises. Otherwise, we're going to keep trying to plow on, push through these for another couple of weeks. But you let me know. So I just need you to tell me that at some point this week, which exercises you don't really want to do anymore, and if you want to change anything, or if you want to change how we're setting things up. All right, so just let me know with those ones. But they're all good. Measurements are fine, and then everything on here seemed fine. The journaling's cool. You know, if that's buying you some headspace, that's a cool thing. So keep that going. Steps, yeah, keep them up as you have been. Food, it's not really about getting spot on. It's obviously getting close to it though, right? But that's fine. And then it might be one of those, when you find the day where you do get it spot on, kind of write it down somewhere so you can always refer back to it. It's like a day you can do without thinking, because that's going to become ever useful as we get closer and closer towards the comp date, where like you just don't want to be spending the mental brain power trying to think of something to fit. You just go, right, okay, that's my stuff that gets me here and here. But you kind of said that with a slightly better meal planning, that might help and make life a bit easier for you. Other than that, it's all good. So where you took your photos this time, much better, prefer that. So obviously next week do the same in the same place, and then I can start putting them side by side and having an actual fair comparison. It's very hard to compare. So what I will say is just kind of make sure you're standing same kind of relaxed position. So like, even if I move back, like even having like my arms like this compared to like this will change the whole look of how everything appears. So try and just stand as consistently as possible now from week and week and week. But other than that, yeah, good stuff. Hopefully that makes sense, and let me know and just get back to me on some of those things, and here's to another good week.